Alright, hey guys, welcome to this session by Great Learning. My name is Anirudh Rao, and in this session, we're going to take a look at Python for data science. Now, Python is such a beautiful domain. Data science in itself is such a powerful domain which is adding so much value to our life today, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this session. Now, this is a beautiful afternoon here in Bengaluru. I hope wherever you guys are tuning in from, all of you are keeping safe from the ongoing pandemic. Now, guys, before we go ahead and begin with the session, though, can you all quickly head to the comment section and give me a quick confirmation if you guys can see my screen fine, if you can hear me fine. Just go to the chat box, just type a quick yes or a no by giving me a confirmation that you guys can hear me fine, right? Okay, perfect. Now, while you guys do that, I want to take a moment to tell you that I'm using my mobile phone to monitor all of your questions and comments, right? So regardless of any sort of comment or be it any sort of questions, be it simple questions, complicated questions, anything related to Python or anything related to data science, guys, please head to the comments and please put them down there at any moment of time, because as I just said, I'll be watching all the questions. I'll be making sure to answer all of your questions as well, right? Okay, I do have a couple of people giving me the confirmation. Srishti says yes, Manju, Bikram, Preeti, Shweta, Girja, Chetan. Okay, guys, perfect. A lot of you all have given me yeses. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Now, guys, in this session, we're going to be learning a lot about Python for data science, right? But then before we go ahead and begin with the session, I want to take a minute of your time to guide you about this fantastic venture we have here at Great Learning called as Great Learning Academy, right? Now, Great Learning Academy is an absolutely fantastic place for all of you all to check out, because here is a place where you get access to somewhere around 1,000 plus hours of free learning content and somewhere around 200 plus courses completely free, right? That's just covering the top aspect of what Great Learning Academy is, right? Now, when you take a detailed look into it, it's an absolutely fantastic platform for all of you all to take a look at all of these new courses that we keep having. Day in and day out, we have multiple courses that are being added for this to make sure that you guys can use all these courses to learn, right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, these courses are available in the beginner domain, be it in the intermediate level of learning, and of course even advanced courses as well. And in fact, some of these courses are also available in multiple different languages, maybe such as Hindi as well, right? Perfect. Now, we have multiple tools here. We have something called as our salary builder tool, which you guys definitely should take a look at. You can compare your salaries, you can check what your salary growth is for the next 5-10 years, and of course a lot more. Now, since we're taking a look at data science, in fact, let's talk about the Great Learning career path here. Let me click on data science here. As you can see, you can choose from multiple different career paths. And let's just say for the scope of this particular video that most of you all would definitely want to look towards a data scientist's role, right? Now, as you can see on your screen, becoming a data scientist is absolutely fantastic this time around, because right now we have somewhere around 94,000 jobs in India. The average salary is somewhere around 7 lakhs per annum. And guess what? We have somewhere around 6,000. We have somewhere around 6 lakh learners who are already enrolled into our job ready programs, such as this. We have 8,000 plus career transitions. Again, we're going to roll back completely into this. At the end of this particular session, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to be guiding you on how you guys can become thorough experts in data science, right? But then to get to that point where you have to look at specializations, you can definitely start your journey towards data science by using some of these free courses that we have for you, right? We have multiple courses. As you can see, in fact, there's 24 courses on data science that you guys can use to get started. All of these are absolutely free of cost. You can click on them, enroll. In fact, see, you can just see that, I was already enrolled into this. I just wanted to see something about the course. So you can find out details about the course, skills of the course, foundations, and even a very beautiful looking course certificate. Right now, you guys should know that a course certificate like this is going to add a very large amount of value to your resume, right? Having a certificate of completion, again, guys, all of this is completely free, right? You're not paying for the certificate of completion or anything as such. You can complete as many courses as you want, one after the other. Again, you can pause one more, start another if you want to. You can have multiple courses. You can finish all of them. You can have your certificate of completion ready there, right? And of course, that and many other things here at Great Learning Academy, that's again being put into place to make sure that you guys can use another platform such as this to make sure that you guys are getting up to speed with the competition, are learning really well, and you guys have access to the highest quality of learning material in terms of quality and of course in terms of industry alignment easily as well, right? Okay guys, perfect. Now this is Great Learning Academy. You can reach it via the website, or we have apps both on the Apple App Store as well as as the Android Play Store, right? Perfect. Now guys, I want all of you all to always keep this session interactive, and as always, it's a super pleasure to be teaching all of you all, right? But then one very important thing that I want all of you all to note here is, guys, any moment of time you have any questions, or if you have anything as a doubt or anything as such, head to the comment section and just put them down. In fact, right now I have one question for all of you all. Have you guys opted for courses on Great Learning Academy yet or not? If you have already checked out Great Learning Academy, you have an account and you have started on courses, can you guys quickly head to the chat box and type in a quick yes? It doesn't matter if you type in no as well, because you all can definitely get started as it's completely free, right? Perfect. Now, while you guys go on to do that, ladies and gentlemen, let me go on to quickly discuss the agenda for this particular live session, Python for Data Science, right? Perfect. The first thing that we're going to take a look at is we need to understand why we require Python, right? See, Python for data science in itself has a lot of meaning, but why only Python? Why not some other language, right? So we're going to look at Python in terms of that. And once we understand why we require Python, we're going to take a look at all the various skills that are required to learn Python in terms of data science. Once you are clear with all of those particular skills, we're going to take a look at how exactly you guys should get started with all these libraries that we have in data science. What are some of the most popular ones, what do these libraries in fact do, and all of that, right? So we're gonna have a quick look at the very important libraries that we have in Python for data science, and once we're done with all of these, we're gonna be taking a fantastic demonstration. We're gonna be taking a demo where we'll be discussing a superb use case to show you guys how easy it is to go on to solve a problem in Python with especially a huge domain such as data science, right guys? Okay, perfect. Now, let's get started with a quick did you know before we go on to discuss the agenda, right? The first thing about Python that I want all of you all to know is that Python is no doubt the #1 programming language in today's world, right? It is literally the world's most popular language today. But do you know how it gets its name? Well, Python the name does not come from the fact that it's because it's a snake or something like that, right? That's a very different thing. That's a different Python. This Python, the programming language, got its name from a TV show. It got its name from an actual TV show called as Monty's Python Circus, Monty's Flying Python Circus, right? So the person who created Python, Guido van Rossum, he named the show after that because he wanted to pay a tribute to his TV show, right? So yes, it is not named after the snake. The next thing you really should know is right now, if you guys are watching this on your browser, right? Of course, how many of you all are watching this on your mobile phone, guys? And of course, how many of you all are watching this on your PCs and laptops, right? Head to the comment section and just type in through which medium you're watching this live video, right? Now, if you guys are watching it on web browsers, I can tell you one thing very confidently: be it Firefox, be it Chrome, or any other browser, you guys will be using somewhere around 2 lakh or 2.5 lakh lines of code that's written in Python just to make that browser work, right? How's that? Fantastic, right? Next, you have to understand that in terms of Python, guys, this has to be the preferred choice for the entirety of the domain of data science if you take a look at it. Now, why do I say this? Well, there are multiple programming languages, but there is none that offers all the advantages of Python and brings about a sense of simplicity as well. That's the reason why it's popular. In fact, we're going to take a look at more into that. Look at the last 2 points on your screen right now. The last but 1 point says it's used by hundreds of thousands of companies across the globe. Yes, Python is literally used by millions of people around the world, and if you're a person who's being welcomed into this community, it's an absolutely fantastic community. It is, there is literally no scope for stagnation if you guys are a Python developer, right? There is always something new. There's always a new problem, especially if it's data science. There's always a new tool coming, new technique coming, new ways of handling the data, new algorithms. So there is always something new which will keep you on your toes. That is the reason why there is always a constant requirement for Python developers. Second thing, that's the reason why there is always a constant requirement for Python developers who also can work in the domain of data science, right? So always high requirements, fantastic salaries, and constant number of job openings. What more do you need from your favorite programming language, right guys? Perfect. So with that note, we have to come to the section where we discuss why one has to go on to learn Python, right? Why should you learn Python? Now, See, you should learn Python definitely. One of these important reasons is that Python has been purpose built for data science. It has been built keeping the entirety of the domain, the growth, the next 10 years, the next 20 years, 30 years. In fact, Python is not a new programming language, right? Can anyone quickly head to Google, can tell me when Python was actually invented, right? When the programming language Python was invented. Guys, quickly, let's see who gets it first. Can you head to the comment section and just tell me in which year did Python come out? Right? Perfect. Now, an interesting thing that you guys definitely have to know about in terms of Python is, as I told you, it's purpose built. That means that it should work because it's meant to be, right? Data science is a huge domain, and just having Python and giving you the confidence that, hey, this language is built to tackle that domain and it can do everything you can ask from it is such a fantastic thing. That should be the biggest selling point, knowing that you have a programming language that can do everything you want, right? And then take a look at more points out here. It says that scalability is the guiding factor. Now, why is that? Scalability, what I mean by it is, today you're working on a small project in data science. Tomorrow you might be working on a really big project, right? In that case, what are these couple of points that you have to keep in mind? The first thing you have to think about is how easy is the programming language to learn. In fact, Python is considered to be one of the most simplest and the easiest programming languages to learn out there. That doesn't mean that if you just probably sit for a day or two, you can learn Python and become an expert in it. No, but it means that, hey, there's lots of things in Python that's going to simplify the entire process of data science for you. Right? Perfect. The next thing is built for dynamism. As I just told you, Python will not change in terms of complexity if you're working on a small project or if you're working on a large project as well. In that case, that adds huge advantages to you, right? And then look at the third point. The third point says open source. Now, what do we mean by open source? Open source is basically you telling that, hey, anyone in the world can actually contribute to the project, and you as a person who wants to use Python, you really do not have to pay anyone to use Python, right? Now, just like all these subscriptions that we have, maybe like Netflix or Amazon Prime, we have to pay someone to use all those services, right? Similarly, in this case, you will not have to pay anyone to use Python because it's free. And look at the fourth point. The fourth point says it's an interpreted programming language. Now, an interpreted programming language is super fun to work with. There are other programming languages as well, right? Let me quickly check the comments out here. Okay, we see that a lot of you all are joining in from your laptops and mobile phones. Guys, for all of you all who are joining in from your mobile phones, we have really big fonts on the screen to make sure that all of you all can see everything even on a very small mobile, right? So I hope that's working out well for you guys. And okay, perfect. We do have a couple of answers. 1991. Okay, nice guys. A lot of you all have given me the correct answer. In fact, yes, that is the right answer, right? Now, I have one more question for all of you all. When I said interpreted programming language, guys, what are the other programming languages that you have worked with? There are many other programming languages like C, C++, Java, JavaScript. There's so many programming languages, right? So you head to the chat box and you tell me which other programming language you have learned. Right? While you guys go on to do that, let me quickly explain what an interpreted programming language is. Python is an interpreted programming language, as in every line of code, right? Whenever you write, let's say 10 lines of code, each of these lines of code is executed one after the other. Only after line number 1 completes execution, 2 will start. Only after 2 finishes, 3 will start, right? Now, this is very different from everything else, right? Now, this is very different from how C would work or C++ would work. There, unless you have an error or anything like that, everything will run fine. Once you have an error, until you fix that error, no one line of your program will run, correct? Even if you just have one tiny error, your 1000-line program will stop. It will say, fix that error. Until you fix it, I cannot run. Correct? Now, that will not happen in Python because here we execute it line by line rather than compiling everything and doing it at once. Perfect. And then see, Python being the popular choice, here are the next couple of points. I think all of these points should come understandable to you already right now, right? Python is again a fantastic choice because it has a huge library, right? How many libraries are there in Python? How many frameworks? How many just these libraries are the reason what makes Python so popular, right? There is so much of quality, there is so much of help you get from these libraries that you will not realize unless you don't have those libraries, right? right? Perfect. Next is large community. As I just told you, Python has a community of millions of developers around the globe. So you being a part of this community, you will definitely be welcomed with open arms, regardless of your level of proficiency with respect to Python as well. This is everywhere around the globe, and this is for every other domain for Python as well, right? Again, Python and data science are super friendly communities, and I cannot wait to make sure that all of you all watching this particular video are into the community, and you guys start working out and you guys start putting out applications on your own, right? Perfect. The third thing, as I told you, it is easy to read syntax, right? See, when we are taking a look at the demonstration aspect of it, when we are taking a look at the demo part of it, you yourself will realize that saying, hey, this programming language, Python, it is almost written in English, right? I mean, of course, it's typed in English, but it doesn't mean it has to be English itself. But then here, the programming language is so simple that when we go on to talk about how you guys can get started with it, you yourself will realize the fact that it even for a person who doesn't know Python, you can look at the code and guess what's going on. That's how good Python is, right? And the last point says it's a strongly typed programming language. A strongly typed programming language is one where you do not have to provide data types. Now, a lot of you all have told me that you guys have worked on R, Java, C++, right? Out of all of these, C and C++ seem to be the most common thing. So let me give you an example. When you're working with C programming language, there if you have to let's say create an integer and provide some value for it, you have to type in int a equal to 5, int float, right? You have to manually specify all the data types, because why? C programming language is not intelligent to figure it out on its own. But with a strongly typed programming language like Python, it can do this on its own. You really do not have to tell what data it has to be there, right? You just throw in a random number, a character, a sentence, or a string. Python is intelligent enough to automatically assign a data type, and you do not have to break your head about that, right? And of course, when you're thinking about it, I guess it's the most searched programming language on the planet today, in fact, right? So everyone wants to learn Python and everyone wants to align their learning towards data science itself, and that is exactly the reason what we are going to take a look at as well now. The fantastic thing that you have to take a look at whenever you are thinking about the skills that are required for Python. Now, see, we can talk about hundreds of skills that are out there, right? Now, I can probably have 40 minutes of telling you what are all the skills that you guys require. To make sure we can club everything into a simple one slide approach where all of you all can understand some of these skills that are not taught, right? Now, I cannot teach these skills to you, but these are some of the things that you should work on yourself. The first skill is out of the box thinking, right? Of course, nobody can teach you how to think out of the box. It has to, you have to practice it. You have to find a problem, find multiple solutions to the problem. That is how, your brain will start working in its way of how it can devise in more solutions to the problem. Very important skill for data science, especially if you guys are learning Python. Have this out of the box thinking, because sometimes you'll have a problem and your brain wants you to think that there is only one solution to get there. But as a data scientist, as a person who's learning, you should know that whenever there is a problem, there is usually more than 2 or 3 ways of how you can solve that particular problem. This is where out of the box thinking is required. The next thing is data oriented approach. Guys, let's be very honest here. If you guys are picking up data science, if you guys are picking up Python to learn, you have to be comfortable with data, and not just comfortable, you have to be in a zone or a league where you prefer working with data, you like working with data, and data excites you, you know that, right? Looking towards a solution and just thinking how the data is, how the data would behave, how that behavior can be used to solve your problem. That is data oriented approach. The third thing is ability to scale up solutions, right? This we have already discussed. Today you're working on a small project. Tomorrow when a big project comes, since we're using Python, you really do not have to break your head in terms of syntax itself. Just the logic you have to work about it and you'll be good, right? Perfect. Look at the last point. Last point is logic building skills. Now guys, you head to the comment section and you tell me which is more important, building logic or writing the program. Building logic or writing the program, right? Now I know that most of you will answer this question saying building logic is very much important, because that is where you'll be using all of your tact, you'll be using all of your skill, you'll be using using all of your processing, right? Now, a person who just knows 2 or 3 languages, right? For example, I can speak English, I can speak Kannada, and I can speak a couple of other Indian languages as well. Now, it doesn't mean that I am a thorough expert in all of those languages, right? I can just buy a dictionary, I can buy a book, and I can read it. Similarly, for Python, everyone can also learn the syntax of how Python itself works. But where the difference lies between a good Python developer and a great Python developer is where a person can apply amazing logic, right? Logic that is not only functional, but logic which is also efficient. Anyone can write a piece of Python code if they are just trained to convert English language into Python language, right? People can do that. But if you're looking for a programmer, now this exact thing that I just told you, I have covered it very nicely, in this beautiful video that we just put out. It's called Coding versus Programming. Now, a lot of you all might not know what coding is, might not know what programming is. There is a huge difference between coding and programming. So make sure you guys watch that video after this particular session, right? Perfect. Now, since we are talking about data science itself, it's very vital that you guys are, as quickly as possible, you guys will be waiting to get started with respect to data science, right? Look, perfect. As I told you, right, a lot of you all are telling me that building logic first is very much important, right, guys? I agree. In fact, both is required. But in fact, when you're talking about the data science thing itself, let's actually come back a little from the technical perspective. Let's talk about it a little from the non-technical perspective. The first thing you really have to understand about data science is that it's literally one among the top 10 careers, right? There is, I also read this somewhere. It's considered as the sexiest job online. The job profile of a data scientist. It sounds super funny when I read it, and it doesn't even sound professional, to be very honest with you guys, but that is the thing. That's how popular this particular domain is, right? It is literally the most trending career, the entire aspect of data science in the entire world today for data science. So when you guys are looking for data science, it's you're gonna have absolute fun, right? Now, I promise you that you guys have used data science already, right? Let me give you a simple example. Think in the terms of shopping. I am sure you guys have shopped on Amazon, Flipkart, or wherever it is, right? In fact, on that note, for all the people who are tuning in, I think there was another PlayStation 5 sale that was supposed to happen today on Amazon, right? In fact, that's the thing we're talking about, shopping right now. Now, if you are a person who's a gamer a lot, Amazon will start recommending you gaming stuff. Flipkart, if you have just only ever browsed home decorations, you realize that the other things are also recommended to you are only home recommendations. In fact, you yourself can experiment this, right? You can go to Amazon, just pick up something which you would not be interested in, maybe bed sheets or bedspreads or something like that, right? Just search for it for 5-10 minutes and just close it. Later, when you come back to Amazon, when you want to buy something else, it'll be telling you, hey, do you still want to buy a bedspread, or do you want to buy a bed sheet still, right? That is again, how do you think it remembers that it was you who watched it? How do you think it knows that you want a bedspread? How do you think Amazon knows that you might click on it and buy it again if you're given more offers and discounts on it, right? All of these things again are powered by data science itself. Now, let's talk about Netflix, right? All of us love Netflix, and I'm sure that, I see myself spending somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes at least on a Netflix every single day for some reason, right? Now, we all love watching TV shows there, but did you know that Netflix uses some of the most brilliant, world's most powerful algorithms in terms of recommendations? Do you know that when you go to Netflix, when you pay and when you create an account and all of that, as soon as you open it, when you start watching stuff, you realize that how good Netflix is only because of the fact that it's recommending you nice stuff to watch, right? Now, even if I have 100 movies in my hard disk, but I just give you all the bad stuff and say, please watch, would you be interested? No, right? In the case of Netflix, it has a ton of content, but what it shows you is only the best of the best, aligned to what it is that you want to learn, right? Now, I mostly watch a lot of documentaries. In fact, what you see on the screen right now is actually a screenshot of what I watch, right? As you can see, most of the stuff that I watch is only documentaries. I really don't watch any movies or TV shows or anything like that. I just like learning new about some other domain, maybe in the domain of how the Navy works, how Formula One works, why are prices of houses super insane, like there are $1 million houses and all of that, right? So I watch a ton of these things, and Netflix keeps recommending me more and more and more of these things because it knows that I I want to watch all of these things, right? That's the most fantastic thing that you guys don't realize. Everything from this tiny thumbnail that you see, all the way to the content, all the way to how it is presented. There is so much of research that goes on, that these guys are using data science left and right. Everything from data ingestion all the way to AI, all the way to machine learning, all the way to performing in-depth, some of the world's most in-depth analysis, all the way to at the end making sure you guys enjoy your TV shows, right? So it's an absolutely fantastic thing that you've used it, but you might not know that you've used data science stuff there, right? And to be very honest with you, one of the most interesting things that no other domain, guys, now concentrate here. This is where no other domain sort of gives you this kind of a flexibility. The first thing is any other domain as well, right? You can maybe have the data that we have right now, any amount of data, you just keep it. You can use the data to sort of analyze what went wrong in the past, right? Maybe you have a chocolate shop, maybe you're a person who loves selling chocolate. Maybe you just take up all the sales data of the last year and you can analyze which month you had sold the most, which chocolate you had sold the most, and all of that, right? Guess what? Data science will also give you the ability to predict the future. You can still use yesterday's data to predict what might be the number of chocolates you sell today, which chocolate you might sell the best tomorrow, and which product of yours is going to either work completely, or it's going to be a failure, or it's going to be something like this product will fly off the shelf every single day. All of these things are predicting the future, right? You cannot just guess saying, hey, this might work, this might not work. That is not how companies work. Whenever companies launch new products or services, they will perform analysis such as this. And guess what? To predict this future, right? You guys can do a simple experiment right now. In fact, just open up your phone. I just type in tomorrow's date and type weather, right? Today is the 17th of May. What is the weather like on 19th of May or 18th of May? How do I find that? Unless we come to that date is very difficult. But then you can actually ask Google and Google will give you an answer, right? What is Google doing? Google is also trying to predict what might happen tomorrow itself, right? This entire ability that you see, no other domain in the entire world gives you a chance to use your data to predict what will happen tomorrow. That is the reason why billions, I'm not saying millions, I'm saying billions of people definitely want to use this to either give a boost to their businesses or whatever it is that they're trying to do, right? Perfect. Here's a quick look at the data science architecture, right? I just want to show you this. I'll not be explaining the architecture again. We have multiple videos where we have explained this. The architecture goes from left to the right. So the first step in this is data acquisition, as in how you bring in the data, work on your databases, storing your data, and all of that, right? This is where again you can still make use of programming language like SQL and a little bit of Python. Next comes data pre-processing. If you provide unclean data to your machine learning algorithm, it's as good as you not doing anything, right? I say that in such a strong statement because it's very important that data has to be cleaned and pre-processed. If it is not, your machine learning algorithm will not work at its most efficient. So in data pre-processing as well, Python is required. And then talk about machine learning. Machine learning, I think all of you all here will know what machine learning is, and in that, of course, Python is required, right? And then look at data visualization. In terms of data visualization, you guys would have already seen that you can create graphs and dashboards and whatnot using Python itself. Of course, there's many other tools here such as Microsoft's business intelligence, Power BI, Tableau, ClickSense. All of these tools are there, but Python can also work in that aspect, right? And of course, the last step is to derive key insights, as in how can you solve a problem and how you solve the problem and how you're using the solution to the problem is what we discussed in the last step, right? So literally from the first step all the way to the last step, we require data science in one way or another. And when you take a look at it, here are the various roles that we have for Python for data science, right? These are the 4 top roles in the domain that we have today. Everything from a data scientist's role, a data analyst's role, a data engineer's role, and even a BI analyst's role. Now, of course, see, a data scientist's role you would already know. Let's talk about how data analysis, data engineering, and BI analysis comes under data science for a second. See, data analysis is a part of data science itself because you're using data to gain some insight about it. And then when you're talking about data engineering talks about big data, right? I'm sure you guys have heard about big data, and it talks about how you can bring in your data to keep it ready for a data analyst or a data scientist to use. That's the job of a data engineer. And then when we talk about a BI analyst is again a fantastic trending role in the case of data science, where in fact the entire world is looking for business intelligence analysts who have the capability again to keep all the data at hand, create beautiful looking dashboards and visualizations, to perform in-depth analysis to tell you, hey, this is why you went wrong, or hey, we should do this to make sure we see a large profit in the next couple of months or next couple of years as well, right? Fantastic. These are some of the various roles. Now, just before we can go on to take a look at the demo of our particular discussion right now, I want to take a second to give you guys this discussion of how how libraries are super important for data science in Python. And more than libraries and data science for Python, I want to talk to you about some of the most popular packages that we have for data science itself. Here, what's happening is this: without the use of libraries, without the use of these packages, you have to do a lot of things manually in Python, right? Now, if you are a person who knows all of these all of these libraries, take a second to think about it. Without all of these things, if you had to do everything manually and to get your solution, how difficult would your life be? Right? Now, we have some fantastic libraries out there. Let me quickly walk you through a couple of them so that we can dive into the demo and we can understand what's happening, right? Perfect. On your screen right now, you see two important libraries called NumPy and Pandas. NumPy is a fantastic, it's a numerical computation. It's basically called numerical Python. That's the full form. NumPy basically is a very important library which is needed to perform numerical computations around, of multi-dimensional, right? No matter what, you might have seen something like matrices, you might have seen and heard of arrays and all of that, right? So we require both of these, NumPy and Pandas. Pandas again is a similar library, but it's very famous for its statistical usages, right? If you have any sort of statistical computations and you want to use the two very famous data types that Pandas provide us, right? Series and data frames. If you want to use these two, again, Pandas is a fantastic library that will help you do that, right? Let me just quickly get a gulp of water, guys. Okay, perfect. So this is NumPy and Pandas, right? Next, we'll take a look at TensorFlow, PyTorch, and scikit-learn. Can anyone guess these libraries? What are they for? What do we require TensorFlow, PyTorch, and scikit-learn for? Let me tell you. Let's take a look at the first two, TensorFlow and PyTorch, right? Now, you have to understand one thing. TensorFlow is one of the world's most popular Python package out there. It is used for deep learning, it's used for neural networks. It is literally developed by all the people at Google, and it is one of the most famous Python packages out there. And next, if you take a look at PyTorch, PyTorch is developed by the developers at Facebook. How fantastic is that? They had their own programming language called Torch, and then they wanted to implement all of that using Python, hence the name PyTorch, right? And then of course you have scikit-learn. Scikit-learn is the most important library in entire Python if you have to work especially with what? With machine learning, right? Scikit-learn is a superb library. It's a very easy to use library, and with respect to how you can achieve your goals easily, scikit-learn is absolutely fantastic, right? Perfect. Now, the last two libraries that I want to discuss with you guys before jumping into the demo is matplotlib and cbon. Now, you have to understand one very important thing, guys. With respect to matplotlib and cbon, these are literally some of the most important data visualization libraries we have out there. When I say data visualization, we are trying to take in some numerical data and create beautiful looking graphs out of it, right? In fact, in the demo that we're about to discuss, we will go on to use and create some graphs as well. So make sure you guys are thinking around for that, right? Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so perfect, right? Now when you're taking a look at matplotlib and cbon, these two, you will use data and create beautiful looking graphs out of it, right? That's the biggest advantage, is that these libraries will provide you. In fact, is you might be thinking, hey, okay, so if I have access to these libraries, how difficult is it for me to go on to do it, right? Well, to be very honest with you, it is actually pretty simple for you guys to go on to use it. Now, why do I say this? Is sometimes you look at graphs and you look at things and it just looks looks super complicated, but in Python nothing is complicated if you guys can break it down into simple terms, right? Perfect, guys. Now is the time we will head into Google Collab and we're going to have a practical demonstration of how simple it is, right? I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to show it to you of how easy it is to work with Python, right? Now, guys, this is Google Collab. So for all the people who might not have used Google Collab is basically a simple Jupyter notebook that is hosted on the Google Cloud platform. So basically by this, what we are trying to do is at the end of the day, ensure that we can showcase to you guys that, hey, you can use Python in a simple way and you can get a lot of it done for a lot less code, right? Okay, let's get started here, guys. So I'm going to walk you through this particular demo. I'm going to give you what we're going to do in a quick fashion. The first thing that we're going to talk about is diabetes. Okay, now you know that diabetes is a disease that again is taking over the world, right? I mean, of course we have other bigger diseases now, but when you take a look at it, diabetes again, literally half the world or less than half the world will be suffering from it for reasons, right? So what we're trying to do here is we're trying to use Python, we're trying to use data science, and of course we're trying to use a bit of machine learning to see if our program is intelligent enough to use certain data to see if a person is diabetic or not, right? Now, when you usually tend to get diabetes, there are so many common things that are right. Usually the person has a bad eating behavior, the person is obese, the person has a large BMI, the person's eating habits are not good, the person doesn't exercise, no workout. There's a lot of reasons of why a person has diabetes or not, right? So in fact, we're going to take a look at it, a couple of reasons, and we're going to see how intelligent we can make our program to help us with that, right? Perfect. So Ankita has a question. Ankita Jindal says, what is PyCharm? Well, Ankita, PyCharm is basically a similar, in fact, a graphical user interface just like this one, where you can go on to write your Python code and execute it as well, right? It's basically a toolkit that will help you to go on to write your Python code and execute it. Similarly, this is exactly what I've done. For you guys to get here, all you have to type in Google is Google Collab, guys. Google Collab, this is what I'm typing, right? Collaboratory. This collaboratory is basically everything that we are taking a look at, right? I'll show you how simple it is, right? You guys will be surprised. Now, all this code that needs to be shown to you guys is already pre-typed in to save time, okay? Now, whenever we're trying to attack a problem and try to find a solution, what is the first thing that we always do? We make sure that we are importing all the packages that we require, right? As I told you, important packages, we have all of them from our list. Look, we spoke about NumPy. We have NumPy. We spoke about pandas, we spoke about matplotlib, we spoke about cbon, we spoke about scikit-learn. Scikit-learn's short form is basically sklearn, so it's literally the same thing, right? So as soon as I just click this play button, this entire piece of code is run, right? So I have all the libraries that are ready for me to go on to solve a problem now. The next thing is I should actually import the data set, right? In fact, let me zoom in a little more so all of you all can see better, right? Okay, so Arjun Bhalekar gave you a beautiful answer to your question, Ankita. It's an ID, an integrated development environment, right? Okay, cool. Now, if I have to import the data set, I'm going to click on this. It's going to give me an error now. What is the error? The error says, hey, where is this particular file? You're saying that there is a diabetes.csv dataset, but I don't have it. Now, what's the issue? The dataset is actually present in my local computer, but not on the Google Cloud, right? I have to upload it to the Google Cloud first. Let me quickly go on to do that. Let me go to open files, datasets, the diabetes dataset. Okay, right now, as you can see that it's uploading, there's a small circle here and it's uploaded, right? Now what I'll do is I'm going to click on it again, and this time, guess what? It runs perfectly fine. Why? Because now we have uploaded our data set. Our data set is ready to tell us what it contains, right? So let's quickly take a sneak peek and understand what our data set is, what we're talking about in terms of diabetes and all of that, right? Well, take a look at this. Look at all the names of the columns here, right? So all the names of the columns out here are the reasons. It will tell you if this person will have diabetes or not. This is real life patient data for so many different patients, right? You can find out a lot of things. For example, even how many times the person was pregnant, right? How many times they've carried a baby. That also has an impact on diabetes. What is the glucose level? What is the this is called as the sugar level in the body, the glucose level, right? You're going to take a look at all of that. Then of course blood pressure, or BP as it's called, right? For someone who has high BP, you might hear in family conversation saying, oh, BP and sugar are very common. Well, BP, blood pressure or BP as it's called, it's also super common for diabetes as well. So we're gonna have to use that to track as well. And then the next thing is skin thickness, how thick your skin is, how much of fat this person has, and of course insulin is very important. And then we have body mass index, right? Body mass index of 25 is considered as this person is built okay. Anything above 25, anything above 30 is considered as super obese. Anything above 40, this person is extremely obese, right? So you can see a lot of these things. And of course, the most important column that we have to talk about is the age, right? Age is usually a huge factor when it comes to checking if a person has diabetes or not. Now, thankfully, since we have the data set ready, guess what? We already know the outcome. We already know if this person has diabetes or not, right? Now take a look at this. This person has a BMI of 43, and I could just look at it and I could guess saying this person might have diabetes, and I was right. Right now, another person is 28 and he or she is 21 years old. We don't know if the person is a male or a female apart from taking a look at pregnancies, right? So this is the data, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be using this particular data, and in fact the data already tells us if that person was diabetic or not. But my machine learning algorithm is not going to look at this last column. It's not going to see this last column, where it's only going to see everything until the last column to see if it can predict the correct if a person has diabetes or not, right? So these are some of the columns that we had to take a look at: pregnancies, glucose, blood pressure, skin thickness, age, outcome, body mass index, and all of that, right? So how many patient data do we have here? That is one question that you can ask, right? So it's a very simple answer out here. We have 768 people's worth of data, as in we have data from 768 people. We don't know how many of them are diabetic yet, how many of them are non-diabetic yet, but we have the data from these guys. So to train using this particular data for our machine learning algorithm is going to be absolutely fantastic, right guys? I mean, you think about it, the more the data, the better quality of data, higher your chances of machine learning, right? Okay, Mopuru Bharat says, which is the best editor to run all Python related program? Well, Mopuru, that's a very good question. What I usually prefer is, of course, what you see on your screen right now, Google Collab. It's completely free. You can use GPUs. I'm sorry for that. You can use GPUs, and it's just that I really do not have to need my laptop everywhere. Maybe, before COVID-19, of course, when I used to sit in a cafe and, I'm having my computer there, I can sit and work there. I'm having my phone, I can work with that. I'm working on my smart TV, I can write Python program on my smart TV, right? So there's so many things that you guys can do, and that's the reason why I prefer this. It's simple. I don't have to install anything, right? In fact, to answer your question, there's many different IDEs, right? There's PyCharm, there's the actual Jupyter Notebook, and then we have Google Collab. Google Collab is basically a Jupyter Notebook in itself, as you can see, right? So everything is just executed block by block, cell by cell, and it's very, very similar to Jupyter Notebook. So if you guys have used Jupyter, you can use Google Collab in a very simple fashion. Rajshekhar Patil says, how to add configuration in Python? Well, Rajshekhar, fantastic question. Guess what? If you're using Google Collab, all the configurations that are needed for Python to run is automatically done. You do not have to install Python. 99% of the time, you do not have to install dependencies. All you have to do is write your Python code, hit that play button, and you're done. It's as simple as playing a video these days, right? That's the reason why I keep telling you guys about Python. Now, so we already took a look at this. Now we understand that there's somewhere around 768 people's worth of data here. So let's take a look at the other information we can get from it, right? As I told you, the count is 768. So we have 768 details about pregnancies, glucose, blood pressure, skin thickness, insulin, BMI, and all of that. Now, what is the average blood sugar from all these people, the entire 768 people, right? Guess what? The average glucose level is 120. What is the average blood pressure? It's somewhere around 69.1. What is the average insulin? 79.7. Now, this is the data from all the 768 patients, right? Now, average BMI, you can see that it's higher, 32. right? And of course, everything else from here, the STD basically talks about the standard deviation, as in how much the value varies from its mean. And then when you take a look at min talks about the minimum value. Of course, it's going to be 0 everywhere. Then 25th percentile, 50th percentile, 75th percentile, and max, right? All these 4 rows that you see right now, these are responsible for something what we call as the quartile divisions, right? Minimum to 25. This particular, let me just select it. This particular division, everything from minimum to 25, this is the first quartile from 25 to 50th percentile. This is the second quartile from 50th through 75th. This is all the data of the third quartile, and from 75th to max, we have the fourth quartile. So Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Basically, we have divided everything in between min and max into 4 different things, right? That's something that you guys have to know. This is the statistical look at the data. Now, sometimes you might require a solution where you can actually answer all the questions that you get just by looking at statistics. The other thing is sometimes you have to use machine learning. In our case, we have to use machine learning, right? Now, let me go on to run this tiny piece of code here, one line of code that will tell me if there is any sort of empty values in all of the columns and tables that we have, right? So we have 768 rows of data here, and everything is false. It is telling me that, hey, there is no NaN values, as in not a number, right? So if it is false, it is telling me that all your data is valid. You do not require any sort of pre-processing, at least checking for NaN values or empty values, right? That's a good thing. Now look at it. Now, I told you that we're going to be printing beautiful looking graphs with respect to how we will be using data science as well, right? Let me print a correlation map for you right now. Let me zoom out to 100%. Look at this. This is a beautiful looking visualization. It's called as a correlation map. It is basically taking 2 features and giving you a comparison of how intertwined these features are. Lighter the color, there is more positive correlation. Darker the color, there is no correlation, right? Now, I'll give you one more example to understand this one. Take a look at all the diagonal elements, right? You guys have worked on matrices, I'm sure. Diagonal elements are all white, and from the legend on the right side, it says that if it's white, it means there is 100% correlation. It has to be the exact same thing that we're comparing. Yes, it is the exact same thing. Look at this. We have pregnancies on the y-axis. We have pregnancies on the x-axis. Can you compare 2 things which are exactly the same? No. Right? Hence the reason it's white. Similarly, glucose and glucose, BP and BP, skin thickness and skin thickness, right? Take a look at the x-axis and y-axis. Insulin, right? So it's white here, so it has to be insulin here. So you will understand that across all the diagonal elements, you're directly comparing the same element with itself, right? So that is not possible. In that particular case, it will just give you a correlation of 1. But everywhere else where you see that there are other colors that are being used, right? As I told you, darker the color, less the correlation. Now let's pick up something that has light colors, right? So let's just take a look at body mass index and skin thickness. You can see that this is a light color, right? So what it's telling me with this light color practically is, hey, so skin thickness and body mass index are correlated with each other, right? As and when skin thickness usually increases, there is a good chance that your body mass index will also increase. Or if BMI decreases, your skin thickness will decrease. I mean, of course, right? That's how we all lose weight. Once you start losing weight, your skin thickness starts falling down and you become thin, right? So that practically works well. And even from our data, I can just take a look at this and I can tell, hey, yes, my correlation map tells me that these 2 variables or these 2 features, as they're called, accurately works. So they will. Right? Now, we took a look at a lot of different things, but what we did not take a look at is the number of people in our data sets who have diabetes and who don't have diabetes, right? So first of all, let's take a look at all the people who do not have diabetes. Guess what? In our entire data set of 768 people, 500 people have no diabetes, while the remaining 268 must have diabetes, right? All I'm trying to do is I'm just trying to find the last column here. Let me just go up here. This last column which says outcome 0 and 1, all I'm trying to do is I'm running an iteration, I'm running a loop to find out wherever it is 1. If it is 1, it means this person has diabetes, so just print that name or print that number out as well, right? So 500 people no sugar, 268 people have diabetes. Now, someone in the comment section says, why do we require cbon? We require cbon so that we can take in textual data such as this and create a beautiful looking graph for you guys, right? So look at this. If outcome is 0, it means the person does not have diabetes. If outcome is 1, it means the person has diabetes. In our particular case, we saw that 500 people don't have diabetes while 268 have, right? So this is basically a simple graph to tell you and showcase about this difference. Right? Perfect. Now the next thing that we're going to do is machine learning. For machine learning, you're going to have to split the data into two things: training data set and testing data set. Training is used by the machine to actually learn. Testing data later is used by us to verify if the machine has learned anything or not. Now in this particular case, I'm splitting the data 80-20 in the ratio of 80:20, where 80% of my data is going for training and 20% of my data is going towards testing, right? As soon as I click on this, my data is now split. Guess what? Now for some people in the comment section, guys, you guys will be curious to find out, saying, hey, okay, so if we have to learn machine learning or use it, will I have to write hundreds of lines of code to solve something as as something that's being shown on the screen right now? No, the entirety of machine learning, right, the entire process of how it learns and we verify if it has learned or anything, it is literally 3 lines of code. 3 lines of code. Look at this. In fact, we're using one fantastic supervised learning algorithm called as logistic regression. In logistic regression, I have called the regression regressor first of all, and the second thing is I've performed model fitting by giving it the training data, right? As soon as I run this, right, it'll take a couple of milliseconds, that's all. Now it's giving me a tiny warning saying that it has ran it multiple times, so that's okay. But with just using these 2 lines of code, my machine learning is done. The next line of code that I run is basically me trying to see if it has learned anything or not. Now, in fact, I know if it has learned anything or not. That's why I'll go on to print this confusion matrix here. Confusion matrix is basically a square matrix, a 2x2 matrix that will give you details about what was the exact thing, what was the actual answer there, whether the person was diabetic or not. And what is your machine learning doing? Is it accurately telling that this person has diabetes or not, or is it just randomly picking something else up, right? Now, I know that a lot of you all in the comment section might not be able to read a confusion matrix here, but understand that just looking at this matrix, right, I don't want anything else. I'll just take a look at what the problem is, and someone has given me a solution. I'll be like, hey, show me your confusion matrix. So I'll take a look at this confusion matrix, and just by looking at these 4 numbers, I can find out so many values: the true positives, false positive, true negatives, false negative values. I can even tell you how well the level of accuracy that we have for the machine learning model, how well it has performed, how well it has worked, has it solved the problem, is it being a little inaccurate or is it completely accurate? I can tell you all of those things just by looking at 4 numbers here, right? That is the literal simplicity of the world of data science that is offered back to the world of Python, right? The next one is simple, guys. Next one, you just have to print the accuracy score, right? In this particular case, the accuracy score for my particular demonstration is somewhere around 75%, 74.6%. With that, all we are trying to tell is, hey guys, listen, with the entire algorithm, which is basically trying to predict if someone has diabetes or not, the entire diabetes prediction is being done with an accuracy of 75%. So out of every 100 people that have their data, 75 of it, my machine learning algorithm can just look at everything else. It can take a look at pregnancies, body mass index, BP, insulin values and all that, and it can take all of those and predict if a person has diabetes or not. And guess what? It can do it without even knowing the result. Of course, it will not know the result in a way where you're testing it, and 75% of it works absolutely well. So this is actually a really good number, right? So now, guys, when you're taking a look at the entire code that we just used, let me just in fact clear all the outputs that we have here so I can just show you the code. Look at this. All we're doing here was just importing the libraries. The next 1 line of code, we imported the data set. 1 more line of code, we just took a look at the data set, right? Like what's present. Another single line of code, we printed out all the columns that are there. 1 more line of code, we had all the details. Again, similarly, we had the statistical look at the data set. We checked for pre-processing. We understood how correlations work. We checked out the number of people who have diabetes, who don't have diabetes. We even printed it out with cbon. Then came the machine learning process where we had to split the data into training and testing. We did that. We used logistic regression to train. 3 lines of code. My machine learning model is ready. We print the accuracy score. The accuracy score was somewhere around 75%, right? Now when you take a look at it, to answer your questions, right, so usually I get a question saying, do we require 300 lines of code? Sir, I do not know Python. Well, there's a good chance that not all of you all in the comment section right now know Python, but did you guys understand how easily we can solve such a big problem in Python? Because that was the entire intent of this particular demo, to make sure that you guys can understand how simple it is to use Python to solve such a complicated problem such as that, right? Perfect, guys. On that note, you guys will definitely need to work more to understand about what goes on in this particular aspect of things. You know, what better can you learn in Python for data science? I'm only giving you a quick introduction, right? So to learn more about this, I'm sure the first thing that you guys might do is head to Google and try to Google it out, saying learn data science and all of that. But one important thing I want to tell you all, for the people who are very much interested to learn ahead, to learn further, right? You can go to Google and type learn data science. By the time I made that sound, right, by the time I just brought back two of my fingers together, you have given with somewhere around millions and millions of results. Now, it definitely is super confusing for you to know that data science is a huge domain. It's a very, very, very big domain, and in a big domain such as this, you need to have a structure and you need to have a map, right? It's like a forest. If you're going into a very big forest, you need a map to make sure you don't get lost. Similarly here as well, guys. So why I keep telling all of you all to subscribe, right? Now, if you subscribe to the Great Learning YouTube channel, these are all the very important advantages that you will get. First of all, you'll be presented with really high quality learning materials such as this, right? Of course, our goal here at Great Learning is to make sure that you guys have access to some of the most highest quality learning materials available, either for free or even if it's available for available as a paid product as well. Regardless, we have to make sure that we provide you the highest quality of content possible, and I'm sure you guys can see that, right? The next reason why you should subscribe to the Great Learning YouTube channel is to make sure that you can tune into live sessions such as this. Now, I am a subject matter expert in data science, and I can help you with any question you might have in this entire domain of data science, right? So I can not only teach you everything there is for you to know about data science, but at the same time, I can also align your learning with what is required in the industry, right? There is a thing that usually happens is, as soon as you come out of college, whatever you have learned in college is not, it's not really helpful for your job. So you have to go on to do more things. You have to work on your own, learn on your own. The company will give you some sort of training. All of these things will happen, right? With Great Learning, that entire gap is bridged, because what we teach for you guys is exactly what people are asking in the industry itself. So this is the hugest, right, the largest advantage of you guys subscribing. Now guys, you head to the comment section, right? We have somewhere around 160 people watching the live session right now. Guys, you head to the comment section and you tell me if you have subscribed to the Great Learning YouTube channel or not. Yes or no. Head to the comment section and let me know, guys. Arnab says, sir, please explain the confusion matrix. Well, Arnab, to explain the confusion matrix, I'll have to run that piece of code again. It's a very simple aspect of things. Basically, confusion matrix is giving you 4 tracking metrics: true positive, true negative, false positive, false negative. I have covered this entirely in my data science full course, right? It's an 11-hour course. It's again uploaded on data science. I have taught through the entire 11 hours, so you guys can watch that where it's covered in detail as well. Okay, Love Sharma says, can you please the code and the dataset? Well, Love Sharma, definitely we can have the code and the dataset shared as well, but please do not spam the comment section for it. Okay. Okay, come on guys, now I see a small number of yeses. So if everything that we've been teaching you guys is completely helping to you all, do take a second to subscribe, because it not only shows us your support, but another important advantage for you guys here is that it will tell us that you guys are interested to learn more things such as this, so we can create more, right? So how do you tell us regarding that? You subscribe, you show us your support, you like the video for us as well, right? Now, while I go on to continue this session for another 1 or 2 minutes, I want all of you all to go on to the comment, subscribe to the channel, and then just type in a quick yes, right? That will definitely make me happy. Now guys, to talk about the free content that we have on Great Learning for you guys to learn, right? So first of all, we have Great Learning Academy. Every one of you all should definitely check out Great Learning Academy. It's a fantastic place to be, where you guys can check out all of these courses that we have, the career path that we have, a ton of free resources absolutely free of cost. Now after that, we have the Great Learning YouTube channel. Guys, make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, right? I just gave you a ton of benefits that you'll have if you subscribe, and I can tell you more and more number of benefits, right? So it's just not only me who does this. When you think about it, all the subject matter experts here at Great Learning want to ensure that they have to give you the highest quality of learning, right? In that particular thing, it'll help you a lot if you subscribe. And of course, you can find all the free content that we have, all the free content on Great Learning Academy, the YouTube channel. We in fact have blogs, Great Learning blogs, that you guys can go on to use as well, right? Perfect. Now on that note, how many of you guys are very serious about having a career in data science, guys? How many of you all are very serious about knowing that, hey, today I'm learning, tomorrow I want to work in the data science domain? Because if you are in this particular section that we're going to cover, data science specialization and post-graduation offerings, I want to tell you something. All the free content that we have, and of course across the world as well, in most of these cases, they will give you a very good start to the domain and they will take you to an intermediate level. But if you guys want to become thorough experts in this domain, like everything from the most basics all the way to the most complicated, most advanced coverage in that particular domain, I suggest you check out Great Learning's offerings in terms of specialization and post-graduation, right? We have multiple PG programs, MTech programs, MS programs done in collaboration with some of the most renowned universities across the globe, guys. In fact, let me actually walk you through quickly. Give me 2 minutes of your time. Let me just open up one particular program here, which is again a superb program. It's the PG program in data science and business analytics. This is considered to be India's #1 course for data science and business analytics, right? This is a 11-month online program that is done in collaboration with the University of Texas at Austin. Now guys, this is a university that is again always in the top rankings in the United States, in the world in fact, right? So you can find multiple reasons of why Great Learning is considered to be #1. In fact, this particular course is considered to be the #1 particular program. You can find that you get 2 certificates, beautiful certificates from University of Texas at Austin, and of course Great Lakes Executive Learning as well. You should know that these certificates add a ton of value to your career, right? You can find all the details about the curriculum, all the assistance that you're going to get, right? There is tons and tons of career assistance, guys. I want all of you all individually to come on this page. I'm sure someone handling the chat will give you a link of this particular program. Make sure you guys are checking this out. You will get to learn a lot about the curriculum, the projects you'll be working on, the use cases you'll be working on, all the faculties, right? These faculties are some of the most well taught, well known faculties in the entire world out there. These guys are seriously experienced professionals, and you have mentor based learning. And again, right, as I told you, you have a ton of advantages about why you guys should pick up Great Learning. You have the Great Learning Accelerate, which is basically the career support, where you have access to exclusive recruitment drive, curated jobs, interview preparation, and a lot more. As you can see, I'm scrolling down and I'm just getting more and more details about the course, right? So as I told you, this is a 11-month course. This is an online, this is a completely online program. A postgraduate certificate is given from Texas MECOMs, which is basically University of Texas at Austin, and then we have the Great Lakes Executive Learning as well, right? As I told you, this is an 11-month program, 225 hours plus hours of access to online learning content. You get dedicated career support, you get individual doubt solving session with your expert mentors, of course, and guess what? You get to work with 17 real world projects, again guided by the industry leading experts as well, guys. So there is an application process that you guys have to follow. Make sure you guys are filling this on time, because we get a lot of people who want to join in for these courses, but then to make sure your learning experience is good, we have to break it down into batches, right? So that is that you can find out when the next batch is to be announced. Basically the next batch of when it's starting is announced. So what you guys can do in the meantime is you can come down here, you can just put down your name, right? Now, for example, my name is Anirudh Rao. Just put down your email, put down your mobile number, and put down your work experience. Now I get a question saying, hey, what if I am a college student, or what if I have no experience, right? If you're a college student, select college student. If you have 0 years of experience, as in you just graduated and you're looking for your first job, click on 0. Or if you have had any experience, click on less than 1, right? Depending on what your experience is, give us your details such as your name, email address, mobile number, and your work experience, and we will have someone from the admissions office give you a call in the next 4 hours. What you can do basically is you can ask them any sort of questions about your career in data science, which program you should pick, which program helps you really well, and you can have have an entire conversation about that, and you can get guidance on that, again absolutely free of cost, guys. You just have to put in your details here and hit submit, right? Okay, now let me quickly pick up one or two questions and we can wind up the session. Siddharth says, I have already started learning from your channel with Hindi to clear concepts first. Well, Siddharth, that's absolutely good to know. I hope you're enjoying the experience, right? King Kazma says, sir, when will be the next session, going into further details little by little? Well, King Kazma, as I showed you in Great Learning Academy, there is a place where you can take a look at all the live sessions that we have planned throughout the week as well. Make sure you're checking that out. Aditya Jadhav says, I'm serious about data science. Is there practical session in the 11-hour video? Well, Aditya, yes, there is tons and tons of practical hands-on that I have showcased in my 11-hour video. You can definitely go on to check it out. Okay. Eriku says, greeting from Italy. Well, Eriku, welcome to the session. I hope you're having fun. We're just about to wrap this particular session up, but it's very important. I'm glad to know that you have joined. So let me just take a look at a couple of questions again. So ciao Eriku, welcome to the session. You can watch this again, this entire session. We are just at the end of the session. It will be available on the channel, right? Okay guys, perfect. On that note, we have come to the end of the session, guys. We checked out so many things, everything from why you guys should learn Python, all the skills that are needed to learn Python for data science, getting started with it, checking out the top libraries, and of course having a hands-on demo to showcase and tell you guys, hey, this is the reason why you're gonna have to use Python for data science, and showcasing the entire glory of both Python and data science in that demo. I hope you guys understood every single thing that we've covered in the in this particular live session today, right? Thank you so much for joining. Make sure you guys are subscribing to the Great Learning YouTube channel and hit that bell icon so that you never miss updates from us, right? On that note, take a second to like the video and showcase your support towards us as well. On that note, guys, the pandemic is not yet over. Please make sure you guys are wearing your masks and maintain the required distance, and make sure you're doing everything to stay safe, right? So we are working from home, we are reading from home, we are learning from home, we are doing a lot from home right now, and right now is the best time in the world to get started with the domains such as data science, because when COVID-19 ends, the job market, right now itself, in the middle of the pandemic, the job market is exploding for data science. Imagine what happens when the pandemic ends, right? So it's absolutely fantastic trends, and I cannot wait to see all of you all on the other side as data scientists, right? Perfect, guys. It's always a super pleasure to teach you. My name is Anirudh Rao. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you on the next one, right? Cheers, guys. Have a nice day.